Well, in FinStreet today, let's focus on the stress that is coming up in the small ticket loans or the MFI loans. We have with us Mr. Digant Haria, co-founder of GreenEdge Wealth Services. Welcome to the show, Digant. Over the last 2 quarters, what we have seen is that stress has risen in small ticket loans or especially in the microfinance sector. What's your outlook over there?
Hi, morning, Abhishek. The stress build-up, I think it's a natural progression. We saw 2.5 years of virtually no stress. When COVID hit, after that, there was some credit cost. But last 2 years have been like golden years. Huge growth has happened. So I think the stress build-up is a natural part of the cycle. We are just starting into that cycle, and we have a long way to go where, more and more stress will build up in the coming quarters.
Now, what I've noticed is that, the MFI portfolio has actually nearly doubled post-COVID from 2.2 lakh crore to 4 lakh crore. So what are the trends that you have noticed amongst, small ticket size loans? Are there any chances of over leveraging? I had heard from a few, of my friends that one single entity is lending to a single borrower 9 times or leveraging them 9 times. So is there stress of, heat up that's being built with the customers in the MFI portfolio?
You're very right, Abhishek. The MFI portfolio has doubled in the last 4 years. But if you look at the rural wage growth or the wage growth of urban people who borrow from microfinance, it has been only say 25% in 4 years. So clearly there is a lot of over leveraging that has happened. Maybe a lot of people are borrowing more than what they need or what they can repay. And because the liquidity environment was very good, all the MFIs were flush with money and they were lending this extra money to these borrowers. And there are so many microfinance companies who are giving the same customer 6 loans, 7 loans, 8 loans, in some improvement loan, some emergency loan, some business loan. So I think there is a clearly over leveraging which is there in the system. And we have seen in the past that whenever there is over leverage, some or the other way, the credit costs find the way of, rising over the period of next 1 or 2 years.
So what is the exact culprit over here? Inflation does hurt the rural economy. Is it just inflation hurting, or is it something else that you have picked up?
We want to find a specific culprit, but see, in COVID, a lot of people lost their jobs, and after that, inflation also came back. But I still think the real culprit is this hunger in the microfinance sector to grow at 25-30%. See, you have to understand that when the underlying sector is not, the underlying incomes are not growing at those rates, it is very difficult for us to lend them more than that. And when you do that, you are over leveraging the borrower. And when over leveraging happens, people spend money unwisely and they are not able to repay. So I think the real culprit is, the extreme need to grow at 25-30% and give big guidance that, oh, we are going to do 25% CAGR for 10 years. That's not the way it works in India.
As you mentioned, liquidity has been at ease, and that is why we also saw some of the MFI players reporting the best ever ROAs of about 4 to 6%, in the fiscal that's gone by. What do you think? Can this party continue going ahead? Can they continue reporting such high ROAs with the asset quality pain that is coming in? And also the liquidity scenario, how do you see that for the MFI players?
I think Abhishek, we are at peak ROAs, 5 to 6% ROAs, 15% NIMs. These are unheard of numbers in the microfinance sectors, and we are doing it on a 4 lakh crore base. So why this happened? The genesis of this is RBI had come out with guidelines that the 10% spread cap for MFI should no longer be there, and the cap on just three borrowers, three MFIs per borrower, three loans per borrower, that was also removed in 2022. So that led to a big party. Everybody raised their lending rates and they also raised their lending amounts. So what happened is NIMs expanded, OPEX to AUMs came down because you are lending more and more money to the same borrower. And which is why we are seeing this 5-6% ROAs. These are clearly peak ROAs for everyone, right from a large player like Credit Access to a smaller player like Arman. We are going to see rationalization. Only point, Abhishek, is that this time there is no big event which will suddenly lead to a lot of credit cost. I think it is going to be a slow grind where credit costs increase a little bit every quarter, and which is why the stock and their multiples and all, they will correct over a period of time. And as far as the liquidity, the last part that you said, see, this sector always has a lifeline from the banks because this comes under PSL. So liquidity may not be a challenge, but when credit cost starts going up, everybody will tell their borrowers, or the banks will tell the MFIs that please go slow. We don't want a big blow up in the future.
So the cycle can get impacted due to asset quality in the coming period is what you may highlight. Is this the beginning of NPA cycle in the BFSI sector? Because it usually starts from the bottom of the pyramid and then slowly inches up. So due to this normalization of NPAs that we are expecting in FY25, would you suggest that this is just the beginning of NPA cycle in this segment?
So I think, Abhishek, the small ticket loans, I think it is just the beginning, where personal loans, say unsecured business loans, microfinance loans, these are the areas where there is a clear overheating which has happened. Overheating in India happens when you lend more than, when you grow more than 25-30% CAGR. That is what we are seeing there. But when you say BFSI sector, the home loans, the secured loans, home loans, gold loans, CV loans, and even the corporate side of the loans, they look rock solid. So there is some, that is a place where absolutely there are no asset quality issues or signs of deterioration. Whereas unsecured loans, in many pockets, we are seeing stress buildup, which is coming.
Well, that's a word from Digant Haria that small ticket loans, especially in the MFI sector, over there, the asset quality woes have begun, and we may see rationalization of the lending activities done by the lenders, which could impact the loan growth as well. Thank you for your time, Digant Haria.
Thank you.
For more news and updates, all you need to do is follow CNBC TV18 on all of our digital platforms.